so these smart devices, these electronic devices, where does that fit into government ownership?
It's really a form of control, part of a sustainability and Agenda 21. The first phase of that is to get people to accept these smart meters because they'll reduce their electricity costs. Then will come the time when they won't be allowed to use electricity except in a certain usage pattern dictated by the government.
Okay, so it'll come on to us slowly, so most people won't even really realize it.
As most of loss of freedoms.
Yeah.
Historians have, and there's someone whose name I can't remember, said that the fall of this country will not come from outside, but from incremental loss of freedoms inside.
Okay, and GE, that's a big business that Obama has come together with, and Microsoft.
Well, GE used to be a good, reputable company, and I wish I could remember the former chairman because he's written some books and done some speaking.
Is he somebody that you like?
Yeah, the former chairman of GE, the current chairman of GE, is totally in bed with the Obama administration.
Okay, and also the Google chair, Eric Schmidt. This is an old article.
Well,
but he donated almost $2 million to the Democratic Party.
Google, Facebook. It's amazing that people who have built huge companies using the principles of capitalism, entrepreneurship, individual responsibility are so much in support of liberal and socialistic agenda. And I can only surmise that they've fallen victim to one of the two pillars of liberalism, which is guilt. We shouldn't make the leaders of Facebook and Google and people like that villains because they're so rich, or Bill Gates at Microsoft. We should celebrate their success and try to emulate it, not envy it.
Yeah, there's also some big-time compromising in the pharmaceutical business with GMO, so they're not going to, one guy is in charge of both, and so he's not going to say these are bad for you or pull them off the grocery store shelves, even though they cause cancer or various problems.
Well, the Food and Drug Administration is a mixed bag. They do some things that are good. They keep bad products off the market. They also do a very good job, very efficient job of keeping good products off the market. On the other hand, from a constitutional standpoint, you can make a case that the Food and Drug Administration is constitutional because it involves interstate commerce.
Okay.
But the frightening thing about it is the FDA is working with the United Nations and some other groups to make vitamins prescription items. It goes under the UN term Codex Alimentarius. And I take a lot of vitamin and mineral supplements, and if that ever comes into effect, I won't be able to obtain that stuff anymore.
Wow, okay. We're winding down. Is there anything else you want to say?
Again, the thing to remember when you're talking about government owning businesses is that severe regulatory control is in effect ownership. And we shouldn't say that there's no ownership simply because there's not a piece of paper giving title or anything like that.
Right. Okay, well, thank you. I want to go, I like to call this section that we're doing really God or government. I think, we have sold our Christianity and we've brought in the government instead, really, for people who don't want to, work and they want to rely on social means and the government to take care of them. So the New World Order planks, the Georgia Guidestones, number 7, it says avoid petty laws and useful officials, which I think that's really interesting. But
that's their interpretation. Our interpretation of that would be it's a good thing.
Okay, well, I'm sure their interpretation is a lot different than ours, isn't it?
Yeah, they use words differently than we do.
So, but anyway, I think we want to avoid this as much as possible. Unfortunately, I think a lot of these things you can see Obama's people supporting a lot of this stuff.
Well, you know, we were talking before the show about the issue of sustainability.
Yeah.
In the fact that God has given man dominion over the animals and the earth. And we're tasked to be good stewards of that, which is in effect the core of environmentalism. The problem with the green fringe and what sustainability is that it elevates man, or elevates animals to be equal to or superior to men. And that's not God's natural order.
Right.
That's what sustainability is about.
Yep. And that's why we definitely want to keep God in our government and keep the government out of our private affairs. The Bible, you know, what does it say about plank 7? Well, it's a little bit iffy, but this word sustainability is really, as Jeff says, you know, it puts too much support on animals, and instead of you know, God first, and then, you know, man under God, and then you know, that we are responsible for helping the planet. But we need to put God ahead of all of that. In Revelation 8, it says, the first angel sounded, and hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. Now, why did this happen? We go to Revelation 9, but the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, and they did not repent of their murders and their sorceries and their sexual immorality and their thefts. So it's not necessarily recycling, it's you know, doing what's right, you know, biblically. So anyway, thank you for tuning in, and hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.